Hello and welcome back to ResiPod, the place where we break down the science and stories of silicons. In this episode, we are turning our focus to paints and coatings. How do silicons actually work in these systems? What's the science that drives better performance? And why does it matter for industries and everyday applications? Let's dive in.
Hi, I am Harith. I head the sales of PCD, which is the Performance Chemical Division, which has multiple divisions. So, Brazil, except textile, personal care, and agro. So, today we will be discussing on the subject paint and coatings, industrial coatings, silicones in paint and coating. So, with me, I have two gentlemen. One, Mr. Prashant. Prashant has very hands-on experience in the customer level, in the ground level, on the application level of multiple products in his last many years of the career, and has gained a good vision or visibility in the market in, field, in the silicon field. And other colleague is Sharath. Sharath is more into development, and he has very well hands-on experience in paint, on the working in paint, worked in paint industries, worked in multiple additive industries, and has that multiple way of troubleshooting experiences, and a good troubleshooter in our team and the company, rather, anything related to paint and coating. Yes, gentlemen. So let us start. So the topic. So what do you feel the silicones, paint coating, how it is related? How is silicones advantages? What silicone makes different in the industrial division, paint and the construction industry? Even though it is costly, even though it increases the cost of the product. Why people? Why do you feel they go with silicone? So Prashant, maybe your expertise from the market. Let's have an idea.
Yeah, hi everyone. So when you see about our day-to-day life, from morning to evening, we are using silicon-based materials. Whether directly or indirectly, we have silicon in everything. For example, toothpaste in the morning, and to the night below. For everywhere, silicon is in a part of this our life. When you see about paints, it's a one of the application of the silicon in that overall things day-to-day life. So in the paints, if you see, means it gives an add-on advantage to each and every applications. For example, water repellence it will give, and anti-foam is there, that is, and then wetting agent is there, and adhesion promoter is there. Those are the major criteria and major ingredients of paint industries. That gives you add-on advantages. Like for example, if a normal paint is there, if I use silane in this formulations, can get added to surfaces where it is difficult to adhere also, like stainless steel or some kind of other metals also. So in those cases, it will help you out. It gives according to requirements. For example, if the customer or any person requires a addition to be like very high, we can adjust depends on a dosage and everything. And as well as anti-foam, again the dosage we can adjust up and down. Like this, many properties are there. So better in the chemistry things, I'll pass it on to Sharath. He will explain better on those chemistry parts.
Yeah, interesting to know that we, as a sales, I only know to sell, so I don't go much in this. But it is interesting to know that there are many applications which are also unexplored.
Yes, there are many unexplored applications are there. Yes.
Good to a company to grow. So yeah, from Sharath, let us have an insight.
Well, thanks and great to be here. And like what you both discussed, like in silicon and paint and coating. So you know that due to the versatile property of silicons, when comparing to organic polymers, silicons has a very versatile nature. since due to the silicon as a backbone, which helps in giving the paint properties much like durability, as well as the other properties which enhances. Most of the paint additives we have silicon-based, products, which enhances the entire paint coating for properties. For instance, we have a silicon-based surfactants, which lowers the surface tension of water and then increases the other pigment dispersion, like everything we have. Even we have a rheology modifier, silicon-based. So we have a lot of paint additives which are being used. And the one thing in the formulation incorporation is due to the cost, like what you said. And even though if you incorporate, you will get a very good performance comparing to non-silicon-based products. Then mostly we have looking onto the water-based repellents. Water-based repellents, it enhances the aesthetic look of the paint property even after application, and it helps in controlling the water ingression or water absorption, so that you will have the paint properties as such, and there will be no any defects happening. Like we have a silane siloxane mixtures which helps in what happens is that the chemistry is that the silane siloxane mixtures, silanes helps in deep penetration into the concrete materials. And what happens, it seals the concrete, and on top of our siloxane mixtures will float on top of the surface layer, and which enhances the properties so that we get water repellency, and there will be no water intake, as well as the water moisture present inside the concrete and other substrates can, due to the permeability, the water comes out.
So this is in all the substrates can be used, or we have restrictions in using silicones in the construction? Is there any restriction?
Yes.
Is there any environmental impact on this, or silicone is a very general product? It can be used for any type of coating, floor coating. So what are the impact? Do you have any impact, or it can be used as such?
See, when we are incorporating into the paint formulation, it is the paint formulator's skill to be used as such, because it is not compatible with all the binders. For instance, it is very good in acrylic binders. When we have to do a compatible study, because as when we incorporate these things, most of the surface related properties may go down, and based on that, you have to optimize this, and we cannot incorporate more of the silicone products. Anyway, we are typically using only 0.1 to 0.5% max.
So that should be a very low dosage.
Yes.
Okay. And what this is compatible with epoxy also? Epoxy binders, PU, resins, epoxy resins?
Yes, even we can use in solvent-based paints also. All things has to be studied based on the performance.
Okay, that's great. That's a good thing to know. And how is the shine on the surface? Whether silicone gives you a shine on a surface?
Yeah, definitely. Silicone is known for its UV transparency natures and also UV resistance in natures. So it will reflect the UV rays that makes the system, cooler than regular paints, as well as it has some low molecular weight and high molecular combination. Like as you Sharath told, it has silane and siloxanes. Silane will be low molecular weight, will be inside, and top the siloxane that will be high molecular weight. Usually, high molecular weight will give that shine, glossiness. It will improve the glossiness of the paints. Like you can say, approx 2%, it will increase that glossiness of the paints. And apart from these things, when you think about the coating things, it will protect it from long rains. Like in the areas like Mumbai, it will rain for 24 hours. In those cases, it will be act very nicely. For even if the painter is not adding in the paint, we can also we have some additives that we can directly dilute and directly apply on the surface, walls or surface. That is also have some good, water repellency for a longer period of time. When you compare other, PU based or acrylic based or epoxy based water repellency, silicone is the one chemistry which is very easy to use, first thing, and second thing, it is longer durable things, and versatile in nature.
What about the odor? Will it sometimes we know in our home when you apply paint there is some odor coming with silicone. Then is that odor because of silicone?
No, usually no. Usually no, silicone will not give any kind of odor. Usually it comes from the other additives majorly. So in order to that reducing the things also, we are come up with our pH resistors. Usually that odors comes from ammonia. If I'm not wrong, the ammonia and the sodium, the pH resistor is the main villain in the paint that gives odor or something. So for that we have another products that will help in the reduction of that increase of the pH. For example, you can say it will adjust the pH, and also it will have some good adhesion property. It will give that one, and abrasion properties it will increase. Those kind of things it will give. So it has dual activity, adhesion as well as your water resistance and pH adjustment also it will give. So this will produce.
So that means silicone can go in any substrate, let it be metal, marine.
Yes.
You name in any way, any substance in one or the other form, it can be used.
Yeah. See, similarly, just like when in the marine coatings, it is like for the rest protection, we can give our products, silane based polycomers are there that we can coat on directly. For that, as an adhesion promoter, as a primer, we can use in the paint. You can also incorporate the paint and apply other source. And we have some other products that we can give to that wood based coatings. And again, if you see about this structural things, many RCC and hollow block manufacturers, even that after the constructions, interior decorators, they also require this kind of water repellency for the transparent, without non-paintable kind of walls. There now is fashion, so they're using our silicone-based material for this water resistance. So that will be like add an advantage to them.
It's interesting to know. I think a lot of things to do for the silicone market. Yes, when we also work in the market, we get inquiries, multiple inquiries. We want this type of silicone in this type of application. So we definitely refer to you people and we get results. So I think very interesting and lot to work, lot to do. And the construction industry is growing in India, abroad, and people are ready to pay today. So it's good, good. So anything else you want to add to the forum?
Like exactly like what you told is that silicones is booming up, and what happens is that it has a very good nature so that it can withstand even for years.
Oh,
Like the durability comparing to other polymers, it enhances it, and it gives us good. For instance, what you say like water repellency, the beading effects, and we can control the moisture absorption into the concrete substrates.
And regarding the antifoams, we can speak. It does play a major role in antifoam.
Yeah, even antifoams, which helps in the paint formulations. That is the most important thing. When during the process you generate a lot of foams in the paint formulations. So one of the main ingredient is the silicone-based defoamers, which here controls it stops the foams generation, as well as it doesn't allow it to generate foams, because you see most of the manufacturing process, even the pumping out of paint, they generate a huge foams. In order to control this, we add this silicone-based defoamers.
That's good.
Or else what happens is that when you have this packing time, the most foams which is getting generated, so that your packing quantity.
But why silicone? They can use non-silicone. Will that it is, I feel, cost effective and are readily available.
It is very in what do you say, like even though it is cost performance based, it is very good. Even though you can cut down the microfoams which is present inside due to the silicon nature, which is
That's
and even if you see the paint is not a one-time usage, it goes into the application process also. We can control, for example, if you use some kind of other additives, non-silicone based additives in the antifoam, while production we can reduce that foam. But the property same which we can get in that paint application, it's very difficult. When you use silicone in that one, it will affect both the way in that production process also, as well as in the applications. That's the add-on advantages while using. And it is also stable in high shear application. Usually in the grinding and lead also, both the stages we can use.
okay. How we were talking on the wetting agent?
Yes.
What is that wetting agent? Why it wets the surface, or paint should not wet the surface. But how is this wetting agent? Is it silicone or glycerin, or what is that?
Generally, if you over time, if you see, generally wetting agent is a thing that wets the pigments as well as that solid particle used in the paints. It helps in the uniform dispersions and wetting of the pigment and grinding time. It will help in the grinding time of the paints manufacturing process. So when you see about wetting agent, it will not hamper the production process. For example, if I doesn't use wetting agent in my paint manufacturing process, the wetting and grinding time will go up to 2x or 3x of times, and it will create so much of heat that paint process itself become very tedious. So people are using the wetting agents uh, for the reducing the time of grinding time and uniform wetting of the solder particles and no flow corrosion after some time. For example, if it doesn't use wetting agent in my paint, after some time, you can say after 6 months of time, the pigment or some solid particle will be like become unstable and even is float over that period of time. So in order to avoid that one, we using the wetting agents. So when you speak about the wetting agents, we are supplying silicone-based wetting agents, which is basically silicone surfactants. So it gives an add-on advantages like it helps in the application process also. As an application person, I can speak about those things. See, when you apply the paints, it will help you in the uniformity and leveling of the paints over the substrates, as well as it will help you in the wetting of the substrates. For example, that will help you in the coverage also. For example, I can say if I use 0.5% wetting agent of silicone-based wetting agent in the paint formulations, it can give coverage can 1x times compared to the regular non-silicone based wetting agents like that. It will help you out. And if you say it is also having the leveling property, there will be no sagging or something will happen, and uniformity, no pitting will happen over a period of time. While application, it will help you out overall that coverage and this edge check of the properties. So silicone usually it will also add on some glossiness. So it has triangular property, I can say shining, leveling, as well as wetting of these pigments.
I agree to what you said. The name, even silicone surfactant, the surfactant name itself derives by surface active agent. What happens is that when we add a surfactant into the water, we have to reduce the surface tension of it so that, like what he said, the pigments has to be dispersed properly. Once we lower down the surface tension, it will be very good for the pigment dispersions and other things. So that is a main reason one we use. And what happens is that once we are incorporating the surfactants, it interacts with other pigment particles. It is very difficult for that pigments to get it wet. So what happens is that we lower down the surface tension and it covers the entire pigments, and so that it will be easily dispersed. Surfactants, we have both. It can act as a dispersant also. So it helps in dispersing the pigments properly so that you will not have any paint defects such as your paint flocculation or for instance, what you say, the rub-up effects. Everything will be perfect when you have a very good surfactants.
So that's good to know on the wetting agent in the thing. And last, but I also hear in market they want resins, silicone resins. So what is it different from the epoxy resins and PU resin?
So when you see in the market, there is new trends like flexible kind of. For example, I can say if I make a sheet over that I coat any kind of paints. If I coat a epoxy based paints, I can bend it down, means it will brittle in nature. So in order to protect that one, people are using silicone based additive in that one. It will not only help in that bending things or any kind of impact resistance, it is also help you in this long run abrasion resistance and anti-gravity kind of things additives. It will help you out. In other way, if you say it in heat resistance also it will provide. Usually silicone will be resistance up to 400 degrees Celsius. There are many grades are there that can withstand up to 1200 degrees Celsius. So those kind of demands are there in market nowadays, because now the metal has been everywhere, like even to the clean, to that high temperature ovens, they're using the metals nowadays. For those applications, we require silicone resins. That will be like best of part in our like.
So it gives you mean to say validation in the formulation?
Yes,
for the product?
yes, definitely. Yes, definitely.
So what happens due to this hostile nature, we can incorporate the other groups such as phenyl groups, and so that what happens is that we will get very good thermal stability, thermal stability, as well as it can withstand higher temperatures. We can use paint coatings in the chimneys and other areas where it required high heat resistant. So we can use as a heat resistant paints also, and it goes to multiple applications of it, like it helps in corrosion resistance. It helps all other properties.
It's good to know. So how do you differentiate this from the silicone silence we know, but there are multiple silence in the market, crosslinkers, what you call. So what are the main advantages of this? How do you define that? How silent works in a paint in the construction industry?
So you see that in the structure of this silane, there is two sides of this silane. In between silicon molecule is there. One side is both of alkoxy groups, another side is like organic groups are there. So depends on the organic groups, we are selecting the, we are selecting the products. For example, if I'm using a epoxy paints, I may require amine based silence or epoxy based silence. And then if I have, uh, MMA or like polyacrylic acids or acrylic paints or something is there. Accordingly, we'll select that, vinyl based and methacrylic based kind of silent we'll recommend. Again, in other way, if you say, it will help you on the bonding things. This thing like, without any silent adding into paints, the paint property will be, it will not last long for a longer period of time. When I scratch it or something, resistance will be there. And then nowadays people are looking for quick addition, that things are not coming up. For those kind of applications, we definitely require this silent, which will enhance the bit addition as well as curing very faster rate compared to other addition motors. Moisture sensitive, that kind of things are nowadays coming up. So
That's good. So there are multiple silence, all goes in paint. Based on the application, you define which has to go where, or
yeah, we have some selection guide according to the nature of the siren as well as nature of this paints. We have designed
nature of the based on the application.
yeah, based on application. For example, I told like acrylic paint means we have vinyl and acrylic based siren, and epoxy is a base means we have epoxy and amine base. If nitrocellulose is there, we can recommend. Also, it's not only limited to the paints, it goes to inks, coatings, other things also. The printing inks we can recommend for, printing inks where there is coated over surfaces like, plastics and papers, where the adhesion is majorly important. Even the steel, when you see about the steel roll, it does contain kind of printed things. That printed things, if regular paints without styrene, it will not adhere properly. It will wiped off very sooner. When you're styling that one, it will enhance the adhesion for a longer period of time. So that's where we play a major role.
Okay. And this silicone also can be used as a primer.
Okay, like earlier, what I mentioned is that we have a silent siloxane mixture. So it can also be used as a primer. Before that, you have to treat the concrete well, so that it has to get porous substrates. We have different porous substrates. Based on that, we modify the mixtures. And other than that, we have silicone emulsions, which can be used as a primer. Based on the dilution ratios, we can decide, and based on the coverage area, you can use it as well as a primer before coating the paint as a top coat. It can be used as a primer.
But it can also be used as a direct coat.
Yes.
And you need not paint on it?
No need. You can use as a clear coat, as I kept saying. Yeah. What happens is that if you want a stone which has to be, you want that aesthetic look as such without any coating, so you can use the silicone emulsions, which helps your the aesthetic look, which can hold on as such instead of painting it.
That's interesting application. So we can use it at our home also.
Yes.
Directly.
Yeah, we can use it directly. And there is also a myth in our market. People don't use many people don't use silicone-based material as a primer. They will say like, अगर silicone डालेगा तो it will not paint अच्छा नहीं होगा करके. There is a myth. Actually, when you see, there is some selection things. For example, certain products, we have a products which goes designed for the application for the in situ formulation of paints. In other way, if you see, we have other products that will used in as a primer, or that you can coat directly. We have tried and we have checked everything, and we got some excellent result on those applications. For example, see, one product we have that we are designed for paints in situ formulation. If I give to the customer blindly, this is a water repellent without saying anything, he can also apply in primer, and he can apply after that paint, it will not adhere. We have to educate them exactly, and we have to tell them like this product will be having it meant to be used in only the paint formulation. That kind of things we have to educate them, and that's the role of all our team, and to bring out those things and help to educate persons, especially.
Oh, that also can be a good opportunity, which I feel, because this can be used by any person directly by the consumer.
At the end of the day, the person who is applying, he may be, uneducated fellow only, majorly he will apply those things. People will give water repellent, he will just apply, and he'll say it will not work. So educating those kind of people is very important. So this can be used in application only. This can be used in paint formulation only. That kind of things we have to educate.
That is interesting. So that also can be promoted.
Yeah.
So let us see how we can promote in multiple ways.
Yeah.
It was nice interacting with you people, and a lot of insights I could realize, because we, being in sales, we only see the outer side. We have some product code to sell. We don't know what is that. But it was a good insight to understand more in depth, which also makes us confident to sell, confidence to talk in front of customer. So thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have been listening to ResiPod, your guide to the world of silicons. Today, we explored how these materials shape the performance of paints and coatings, from science to real impact. We will be back soon with more insights and discussions that keep you ahead in the world of silicon chemistry. Thanks for tuning in.